Well, I'm the Joker, baby.
Hi, everybody. Let's talk about the Joker, baby. We are going to look at every single portrayal of the Joker, both Lego and live action,
Yeah.
and put them in a tier list of whether they're S, A, B, E. I've forgotten the alphabet. Shit.
Wow.
Whether they're good or bad. I'm real tired, and it's not even
It's
7 p.m.
showing,
It's
honestly.
bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait,
my,
not only do you know the alphabet, you've seen a tier list before. And
I
you're like,
know.
I don't know, S-A-G-P, fuck, I don't know.
It goes off my screen, it goes out of my brain. And my name is Tom, and I'm surprised I can remember that. And I'm joined by my good friend Drew, who I know is my good friend Drew because I can see him on my screen right now.
Would you, if you didn't see me and you didn't have any proof, like any pictorial proof of our pasts, would you remember me? Just in
Oh,
general. I didn't used to look this iconic either, so
that's true. That's
quite
true.
forgetful.
You've gone through many
No,
incarnations.
no, I'm Drew. So you've already forgotten.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, enough dilly-dallying. We've already been chatting off air for about 4 years, so I think it's about time we go through the tier list. It is the standard tier
Yeah,
list procedure. We're going to see which ones we like, which ones we don't like, and then you can let us know in the comments if you agree, disagree, or are completely indifferent to the Joker baby. That's the second and
that's
only time I'm going to
honestly
do that.
like if you'd have asked like a few years ago, that would have been the most valid response, I think, is Jesus Christ, I don't care about the Joker. If you'd have asked in like 2017 or something, then that probably would have been the most that would get you the most respectful nods, I think, of just like, no, 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 no more Joker, please. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. By the way, because I made the tier list itself, I couldn't think of anything funny to do for the tiers. Normally, we do a little, a little, audience friendly joke with the tier names. But honestly, I typed in just like hee hee hoo hoo ha ha as like the tiers, and then I was like, no, we're gonna forget which one is which because you're gonna tell
Hmm.
me at the end, you're gonna like be like, oh, I've got Jared Leto in hoo hoo, and I'll be like, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah. So we don't have that, and we also haven't it's like we've stuck to like the major ones that people will talk about. It's mostly on screen in movies and TV. So I've skipped off things like you're not going to see Troy Baker's Joker from Arkham Origins. You're not going to see all of the different voice actors from all of the different anime. You're not going to get Alan Tudyk from Harley Quinn, as delightful as he is.
You're not going to get me doing a very offensive accent of the Joker from Batman Ninja.
Straight over my head. What?
You ain't seen Batman. It's the one where it's basically Batman anime and it's all Japanese voice actors, but it's
Oh,
basically Batman gets thrown into an alternative feudal Japan where the Joker is basically the shogun who's
oh.
is actually really good.
I This is delightful. Why have I never come across this before?
I came out
Oh, this
about 10 years ago or so. It's definitely worth a watch.
oh, I absolutely will be after this because I'm just midway through replaying Ghost of Tsushima with Kurosawa mode turned on and all of the Japanese voice
Oh,
acting on it, and it is delightful. Everything sounds a lot better when you're just yelling at people in guttural Japanese. There's a timbre to it that is unparalleled. So I would love to hear that coming from Batman and the Joker. I'll go
film
watch
grain in
that.
the Kurosawa mode as well. The film
Oh,
grain.
but we're
Anyways,
not here to talk about Jin Sakai, the Ghost of Tsushima. We're here to talk about the Joker, baby.
the Joker baby, indeed. We're going to keep that joke going, and we are going to go through in a chronological order from their time on screen. So let's start with one Cesar Romero, who was the Joker for the Batman 66 series and subsequent movie. I've popped him in the middle for now, but where do you see our good friend Cesar Romero?
This is going to be the biggest like problem with this tier list is like the difference between funny haha jokers and holy shit, I feel afraid for my life jokers. And Cesar Romero is the peak of haha funny jokers because he's just so ludicrous, like even more than Jack Nicholson. He's just here to have a good time. He is the embodiment of he's the Joker baby, and he's not very threatening. He's that kind of Joker that kept talking about boners in the comic. You must have seen that, right? With the yeah, of course you have.
I
You
sure
dirty
have.
boy. Yeah. But yeah, like he's the Joker that becomes the uh Iranian ambassador in that one comic. I can't remember. No, that was Death of the Family. That was when Jason Todd dies. Why is that so funny? Anyway, no, do Google it. There's a picture of the Joker wearing a fez, and he's like, "I'm the Iranian ambassador." It's so good. And that's the one where Jason Todd gets beaten to death with a crowbar. Comics are weird, man. The no, but like Caesar Romero, uh, uh he's fine. I think I'm out of the wrong generation and I'm out of time from liking him too much. You know what I mean? Where I was raised on Jack Nicholson and then watched Heath Ledger at my formative movie making years. And so I'm like, I have a picture of the Joker in my head, and it took a while to adapt to liking funny hoo hoo ha ha Joker. You know what I mean?
I think you are absolutely correct. I think for me, I imagine him more as a ensemble of the Rogues Gallery of that time, with Catwoman, Peng Wang, and the Riddler, and
All right, Benedict.
I got the reference. I think the one thing that bumps him up a grade, at least a grade for me, is the fact that he refused to shave his mustache, and so they just painted over it.
It's
That's
my
got to stand
favorite
for
fact
something.
about his era as the Joker, and the one thing that I always hear everybody say,
Yeah,
and it's all I can see is just his little mustache poking through the makeup. It's really wonderful. I wish everybody had done that. I
yeah.
wish that, yeah, I wish that Joaquin Phoenix was sporting like a massive like handlebar, a Hulk Hogan massive furry, or like a Fu Manchu, just throughout the whole film while he has an emotional breakdown. If he just had like a handlebar mustache, that would be so good. I think it would make it better.
I can just imagine. I'm looking at the pictures of the ones we've got coming up. You've got Jared Leto with like a massive Salvador Dali.
Yes, that fits. That fits. I don't think Cameron Monaghan can grow a mustache, so maybe not him.
I've seen him with stubble. I've seen him with a little beard.
I think that was just Jedi Survivor. I've never seen like a real picture of him. I've seen CGI stubble.
Maybe that's where I'm going wrong. I need to find a CGI version of myself. But yeah, I'm gonna go. We can always move stuff around. I'm gonna go in
Yes.
B because I think you got to give him a little bit of credit for being the first. Not one. Was he the first on screen, or he's like the first significant one? I know there was a few
Yeah.
Batman short. Oh my God, I've got something to show you after this. I
Go
found
on.
a clip from a Batman 1940s movie, which is one of the most racist things I've ever seen, and Batman does not does not get away from the being racist either. It's real bad.
Oh no. Oh no.
Let's just say there is a lot of hatred for Asian Americans in this production portrayal of Batman. Um,
That's so rogue because like I'm struggling to think if there's any Asian people in the Batman mythos. I don't think there is any. So you'd have to go out of your way to be racist in Batman. That's
yeah,
intense.
it's
Oh my.
bad. It's
Okay.
bad.
I can't wait to see that. But like I don't know, was Cesar Romero racist?
Uh, Not as far as I know, and I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Then he's a
Uh,
B. Otherwise,
yeah,
I'd bump him down. Yeah, yeah,
let's put him
I
in
give
B.
him a B. I give props, like you say, to somebody who's a bit of a trailblazer like that. Him and everybody else in the '60s show like are iconic enough that they have stood the test of time somehow, bizarrely, which is insane because they were so committed to having a good time and like embodying their characters as far as their more campy comic counterparts are. And I think that deserves a lot of respect. A lot of the actors on that show have said that they're like, yeah, it's great being on the Batman show because you don't need to stress it. You can just cut loose and go nuts, really. So, yeah, I love that for them, and I love him for being that weird.
Agreed. Let's leave him in B. Cool. Okay, so next we jump forward quite a few decades. We go to
Yeah.
1989 with the Tim Burton Batman and Jack Nicholson as the Clown Prince of Crime. And
Hmm.
what are your impressions on this fine Joker?
It's gonna come across as a really bad start because I do like him, but overrated is
You think?
what I would say. I want to say overrated because like people generally like consider him one of the best, and I put him like above average, like pretty good. Like he's bloody entertaining. He's that perfect mix of like genuinely funny and a little bit threatening. Like he's a real good bridge between the more edgy variations of the Joker and the Caesar Romero funny sides ones and everything like that. But honestly, like the way that people hyped him up, I guess in the absence of another Joker besides the 60s Batman one, he was a bloody godsend and also a surprise, I guess, given that like Tim Burton's whole film with like Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson in superhero roles is like, what? Who? What? And then that turns out to be really bloody good. Probably threw people for a loop, but like watching it as like a modern day guy, I'm like, yeah, I had a good time, but like I'm not gonna write home about it. It's like, yeah, it's really funny. It's really high energy. He's the most like always putting like a lot of physicality in his performance, Joker. But like I honestly like it the way people talk about him is like he's God's gift to acting. But like, I don't know, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, this is probably of the classic Batman, if you say sort of the first in a series is sort of, or in the Dark Knight's case, the Dark Knight is like there's one iconic film in every sort of period of Batman, and this is of the Tim Burton ones, the most iconic one.
Mm,
This is the one I've watched the least. I probably only watched this all the way through about twice,
yeah.
and I love how sort of gothically camp he is.
Mm,
There's musicality, there's the interesting backstory. He is more of a gangster than a lot of the
yeah.
other present portrayals, which is fun. But
Yeah.
I do think, there's just something about I normally love Tim Burton's aesthetic, but I think there's something about this one where I'm just like, not something's just not quite gelling with me as it
Mm,
does with some of his other films. And I do tend to agree with you that I don't think he's anywhere near my favorite Joker. And maybe even below Caesar. I don't
really.
know.
I
Maybe.
think I think I put him close to, maybe a little bit above personally, but I honestly consider them generally along the same level, which is a good time, but I'm not gonna like rant and rave about them. You know what I'm
I
saying?
I'm not averse putting him above Caesar and both keeping him on B though.
Yeah, I put him as a high B. Yeah. I just prefer well, I made a fucking video about it, but like yeah, I prefer Batman Returns
Mm.
for its villains for Penguin and Catwoman, which may be controversial, but like yeah, I prefer them as because I think they fit the Burton presentation more than Nicholson's Joker, who
At
I
least you're
don't
not
think
saying
really
Batman.
fits.
At least you're not saying Batman and Robin as your favorite. Well, he's not even Tim Burton, but of that period. Fuck you, Josh
I'd
Schumacher.
say I've laughed. I've got more enjoyment out of Batman and Robin than any other Batman film ever in history.
Wow.
I think we're at a point in society where we can just admit that the Bat credit card and Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy are just genuinely funny. They're just genuinely really entertaining. I think we're ready to embrace that.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but then again, neither's the Phantom Menace, and I love that film.
Yeah, you
Um,
you have no leg to stand on where you're like
yeah,
judging the objective quality of things. We should
I
just
you've got me there.
There's a
Uh,
you love the room. You've met Tommy Wiseau.
I've met Tommy Wiseau like 4 times now. Like it's bad. I've probably seen that film more times in cinema than any other film in my life.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
yeah, I'm not a proud man. But I think that Batman and Joel Schumacher films do tend to be fun. Like he did Lost Boys.
Yeah,
Lost Boys is one of
he
my
did.
favorite films.
Yeah, Lost Boys is great. The for all of its flaws, I absolutely adore his Phantom of the Opera with Gerard Butler screaming all of his lines. I just think that's so stupid and campy that I have a great time. And the same reason that I have a great time with Batman and Robin. I don't like Batman Forever. I think that's not enough. I want it to be so much more. I want it to be Batman and Robin level. It needs to be Arnold Schwarzenegger saying shitty one-liners level of bad. I need bat nipples. I need a bat credit card. I need all of that shit. That I think is where Joel Schumacher operates at his peak. And I think it's honestly too he was just too ahead of his time. He was too
Mm,
late for his time and too ahead for his time. Because if he'd have released a roundabout now in Robert Pattinson, the Batman era, as a counterpoint, he would have been so refreshing to be
I
just so relentlessly camp.
I'm basing this off nothing but vibes, but I feel like Batman and Robin is the most brat Batman has ever been. Like, I feel like you'd have Charlie XCX scoring that film nowadays.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Of all the things I never expected to hear you say. Right, new tier list. Batman movies from demure to Brad. The Dark Knight, very demure, very mindful. Fucking, you realize that's already dated.
I
You
know.
can't say that.
I'm trying my best here. I'm trying to keep up with these Gen Zers.
We're
Oh,
past them now. It's the skibbity alphas now.
oh,
I've truly lost. I feel like a boomer. Like with Gen Z, because we're like borderline, I felt like, I could get it. I'm on board with all of that. And then like now I've finally felt my age.
have you heard about this? This is a complete tangent, but why not? We've already
We
passed the
can't
looking glass.
not. Yeah.
Have you heard of the Costco guys? These like internet phenomenon of these guys going around Costco.
No, what?
So it's this dad and
Should
his
Google.
kid. Like the dad is like this sort of
Yes, and they're having the fucking are they having like a war with people? They're like TikToking each other and they're like making videos about what you can get at Costco versus the other guys at some other
so
store.
so there's
Is that
some
the one?
whole lore now around them, and I find the dad and the kid really annoying. But then they've introduced this third character who is this even smaller kid called the Rizzler, and he is my hero. The Rizzler,
No,
the Ri-
you don't know what they're doing.
the Rizzler gets a pass on everything because I'm going to send you a picture of the Rizzler, and you will
Oh
see
God.
exactly what I'm talking about.
These
Oh.
guys look like the most stereotyp like if you casted Italian Americans in a 90s sitcom, this is exactly what I would picture. That's quite intense. Okay, I see him. All right, okay. This is the Rizzler.
Yes.
Absolutely numbing down on a piece of bread. Fuck yeah.
Like the
So why
Rizzler,
do you like the Rizzler?
just look at the picture I've just sent you. I'll put it on the screen in the edit now if I remember. Like, how can you not love that kid?
I
Look at
mainly
his
because I'm
face.
like I want to love it, but I just keep thinking about like, ah, his life will be ruined when he's older. Oh,
Yeah.
you're an internet child star. This isn't
We've
gonna go well for you if you're not already messed up. Okay,
uh,
I'm seeing a lot of faces, and this kid is pretty funny looking.
I've already seen someone on our at work on our internal Slack channels. Bear in mind, I don't work for like a particularly memey company, but someone has already made a custom emoji of the Rizzler, and I'm like, God damn, yes. It wasn't me either. Jesus, I thought that would something I would do, but it wasn't me. Anyways,
Certainly.
Joker. Let's go back to the Joker.
Joker, baby.
Let's no, we've done that one now.
We
Let's
won't
go.
stop doing it.
Fine. Let's stick in the 90s with animated Joker from Batman the Animated Series, voiced by Mark Hamill.
I was gonna like bundle in with that. Like mentally, I can't separate animated series and animated movies. Yeah,
Mm,
basically DC animated Joker and the Arkham Joker. So I'm kind of
mm.
mentally including both in that, even though like there's a much higher production value on like the Arkham games than the animated TV show or anything. But yeah, just as a heads up, I'm including those in my
Okay.
thoughts.
I mean, it's effectively Mark Hamill's portrayal of the Joker, and there are some
Yeah,
nuances between the animated show and the games, but it is still largely the same deal.
yeah,
And
he changed over time, but like that's like no different than if a guy played a character over a movie series. You count it as his portrayal, I guess. Joker and Joker too. So yeah, what do you think about Hamill Joker?
fucking love it, man. Like he's
Yeah,
so good. Like you wouldn't even know it was Luke Skywalker doing it. He's so deliciously campy, twisted. Adds a real sort of element of menace to what is effectively a kid show as well, particularly in the animated series. Um, and yeah, I just think he nails the comic book the comic book Joker. I
yeah.
yeah.
I think you're absolutely right in that he's felt the most like the comic book Joker. Obviously, that Joker has gone through numerous different interpretations, but who I would picture at that period of time or even, a little bit later on, actually, for a good while, he really embodied that. He sounded like how the pages sounded to me for sure in
Mm.
like a number of different comics. And I'm not even talking just exclusively the mainline DC Comics. I'm talking like even spin-off ones. Like I read Serious House on Serious Earth, and I hear Mark Hamill's voice coming out of the guy's mouth. It's really interesting. And you're absolutely right in that I think in that he balanced like the jokiness with the menace. I was ahead of this because Yaz hadn't realized that Mark Hamill voices him
Oh,
because I've
really?
played the Arkham games and she never put it together. And we've just finished watching like rewatching Fall of House of Usher where he plays in that one, and she literally never put two and two together that is Luke Skywalker. And put that to this guy because that
Wow.
is such a transformation from him. Like, and I was playing a video of his laughs in it, and I think just like by the range of laughs, I think he might be one of my favorite Jokers, just because of the range from like the more menacing little like to the to the more like like cackles that he does. He probably has the most range and flexibility of Jokers in that like he can be absolute like him in Arkham Knight is genuinely scary, and him in something more like the early series of the animated series is like genuinely funny and entertaining to watch. So it's like yeah, I think he's like probably, if not maybe my favorite Joker, the best all-round Joker in my mind.
I think he's an easy S tier.
I think he's an S tier for sure. Yeah.
Let's stick him up there, Joker baby.
And all
Uh,
the more respect to Mark Hamill for taking the balls to go absolutely like I'm Luke Skywalker, the most
yeah.
iconic movie hero of the 70s and 80s, and I will just go and become the Joker now in a voice only role. That's
And
pretty intense of a move to make.
and becomes so iconic that you almost rival your other most iconic character in terms of what people remember you for. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure, obviously, to most people, he will still be Luke Skywalker, but there will be a sizable proportion of people that know him as their Joker. And
And also to transcend voice acting, like because nowadays we know the names of voice actors like Matt Mercer and Nolan North and Troy Baker and everything, but certainly before modern video gaming era, it would be surprising for you to know the names of your voice actors in
mm,
animated features. Now we have celebrities in Disney movies, but before you would have like session singers and actresses from like stage and theater and whatever. But like to be so good that like now that people know you as the Joker voice actor, like along with like Kevin Conroy, it's like you have become the dominant voice in that role, is to transcend like even like visual media to be visual medium to be like the Joker guy. That's really impressive.
I
That's
am
quite unprecedented.
I am become Joker, destroyer of bats, and sitter at the top of S tier.
You can
Um,
cut that out.
I will. Don't you worry about that. Um, Then
Yeah.
we have a bit of a pause in the portrayals of the Joker, released in sort of the more mainstream sense, until 2008's The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, which is, I think, still dawning most college bedrooms across the Western world.
Have you
Uh
seen those things where they're like choose your personality when you start uni or whatever? Where a film guy who chooses his personality, and it's like Fight Club, The Godfather, The Dark Knight,
Scarface.
Inception, I think, or maybe Memento is one of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, Nolan, basically. You can choose a Nolan identity, and regretfully, I grabbed all of them. I was like,
Yeah, you
I
did.
will. I was like, no, no, no. Can I just have films as my personality? Yeah, please. Thank you. Yeah.
I just took
And
the room.
you would like people have like posters up on their walls and you're like finding like the dusty corner of like discarded like old boxes that contain like like when like people inherit like boxes of like their grandparents stuff, and it's got like you find like secrets hidden in there, like diaries of their time in the war, like hidden Nazi memorabilia, and you found the room and you're like, yeah, this is not relatable. No, okay, cool. And you found the room. That's what I imagine you as, is not the poster on the wall, but the poster that you hide in your shed.
It's basically my picture of Dorian Gray, that Tommy Wiseau stays is getting more and more decrepit and I stay younger. Don't tell him that because he's still apparently only 30 years old. I you jog my memory of sort of films from the era that we were at uni. That was it. Have you heard of a film? I think it's like sort of a slightly rom-commy film from about 2011 called 10 Years, starring Channing Tatum, Chris Pratt, and a bunch of other. It's like proper, like, like
What? Oscar Isaac, Rosario Dawson, Justin Long?
I
What the
I
fuck
I
is this?
I tell you what, it's not. it's not anything special. However, I it was on the other day, and this is within, like modern sensibilities. I know culture has come, even in 10 years, has come a long way. In this film, with no sort of hint of this isn't appropriate, someone refers to a white character pretending to be black as a word that beginning with W, that it replaces the derogatory term for yeah,
I got
you
it. I got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, whoa, you can't say that. It's Aubrey Plaza saying it. And I'm
What?
like, and I'm
And
like,
when did this come out?
2011.
Nah! Oh my God. Times change, but they
Yeah.
don't change that quickly.
War never changes, and apparently neither does racism. Uh yeah, it's just like,
I
wow.
just need to watch this movie for a time capsule of that. That's mad because I was looking at the cast, Kate Mara as well. That's why
Yeah.
10 years. I love finding little bits from people's movie pasts and going like, I bet you regret that, man. It's
I
really
I
fun.
I will always feel a little bit of animosity towards Oscar Isaac for ditching what was becoming a very promising ska punk career before he went into acting.
I I think I'm gonna disagree with you there.
Why?
It's surprising that no one yeah, no, I've never been on. But yeah, if you look at Tom, you'll be surprised to know that he likes ska. Just look at the man.
Oh,
You
this
wouldn't have thought from the look of him.
I saw a t-shirt once that said the only two f true forms of art are ska and pro wrestling, and I stand by that statement.
The only bit of ska content I've ever enjoyed, he accidentally invented ska in the Fallout universe on one of his unraveled videos. He was trying to. Have you not seen that one? Oh, I may have spoiled a little bit of that. He's like, he was one of his unraveled videos on Polygon. He was talking about how he's annoyed that in Fallout music hasn't changed and it's remained
Oh
like
yes, I do
50s
remember this. I do
jazz.
remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Scott? No, absolutely not. But then he runs through the methodology in his brain and he's like, fuck, I invented ska again. And he does a Fallout ska song. And I'm like, that's the only time I've ever enjoyed ska. And it took a 20-minute deep dive into Fallout lore and musical theory to do it. Fuck's
Clearly,
sake.
clearly, you just haven't exposed yourself to enough ska, because ska is the sunny delight of music. Like, you just can't be sad consuming it.
Probably carcinogenic and something you should have outgrown. Did
You
that
can go
cut too
off. You
deep?
you can go off a guy, Like, Jesus.
Let's call this one short. S tier, S tier, A tier, B tier. Whatever.
Oh,
Who cares?
well,
I'm the
well.
Joker, baby.
No, let's keep it going for the sake of our friendship. Heath Ledger. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
he's
Okay.
he's
What?
S tier, isn't he?
Heath Ledger. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do we even need to talk about it? Like, people to have. There's been a very growing. I absolutely love that. Just like how you were talking about how like the fact that everybody says about Cesar Ramirez, he refused to shave his mustache, so you can see that, and they just painted over it with white face paint. My favorite thing about the Heath Ledger Joker or the Dark Knight in general is that there exists one movie review that gave it a negative review. Like it has like on the like Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, there is just a single negative movie review that came out that I guess tried to start like a wasn't that a bit overrated? And it was a resounding no from everybody, where it was like, no, 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 this was genuinely really, 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 really fucking good. Uh, Stop, please. And yeah, I just love to read that every now and again because it reminds me that critics ain't shit. They're just people too. But the as for Heath Ledger's Joker performance, well, yes, a big boost to its renown was the fact that he fucking died, but like it stands on its own. I sometimes forget it because I'm like, holy shit, that was so good. And I'm annoyed that we're robbed of any potential cameos he could have had in Dark Knight Rises or any role he could have had to play in that because it is so good. Yeah, he does genuinely have a bit of the funnies as well. I feel like it's the main thing you talk about is like the stories that he tells, the monologues he goes on, the very actorly kind of acting bits where he does his long monologues like the interrogation or the how I got these scars things, but like he is genuinely pretty funny at times, which I
Yeah.
think is a pretty vital part of the Joker. To be he's got to tell actually good jokes every now and again. Yeah, no, I think he's if not the perfect Joker, he's the most impactful Joker, the most cinematically successful Joker. He's the most interesting, like the most magnetic to watch Joker. You're absorbed when you're watching him. So yeah, for that, it's just such an easy S tier for
Yeah, I would
me.
say even t top of S tier for me.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
yeah.
I come and go between him and Hamill just because of like the different kind of Joker I'm in the mood for,
Mm.
the more wacky or the more edgy. But yeah. Would you put him above Hamill?
I think I would just because, like you say, in terms of cultural impact and just, almost transcending the role. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, obviously, I
Yeah.
know there was probably a bit of well-meaning bias giving him the Oscar posthumously, but fuck me, he deserved it. And can
Yes.
you imagine someone in a Batman movie, let alone the Joker, winning an Oscar for like not even like any caveats, just the best supporting actor? Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
for a
like
superhero film in 2008.
yeah.
Like we forget that like I don't think has anybody ever been even nominated for an acting Oscar in the MCU. Maybe Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man 1? No, not
Oh,
even.
yeah. I don't think so. I
And
really
on the
can't.
DC front, absolutely not. Like I can't think of anybody. They're not going to nominate Jason Momoa for Aquaman 2. Like, come on. So, like, yeah, I think that's such a crazy move to be like an automatic win in the acting category. And Oscars ain't shit, obviously, but like he
Of
won
course.
everything. He won everything. Like and well deserved for that. I honestly sometimes I think it's maybe like a yearly rewatch to go watch the interrogation scene of the Dark Knight
Mm,
and just kind of marvel at it and be like, God damn. Isn't it a kind of a weird thing that every single Joker actor, or it in fact most Batman actors as well, everybody looks at and goes, really? Really? And then they blow it out the water like on more wins than losses. Like the the KD ratio on Batmans and Jokers has been like better than most roles in
yeah.
things. Or like where people were like Michael Keaton, that's a weird casting, and then he's so iconic they had to bring him back in the Flash and Batgirl, which never really saw the light of day. And then like even Heath Ledger, where it's like he's been 10 Things I Hate About You and A Knight's Tale. How would you cast him as the Joker? Like that has to be performance based. That's not, yeah. Whereas like, and then Robert Pattinson, where everyone was like, oh, because he was the vampire. No, because he's a fucking good actor. It turns out, yeah,
And then you got someone like a real life freaking weirdo like Jared Leto, who you think, oh yeah, he's a freaking weirdo, but then maybe he'll do a good Joker, and then he's the worst one. He's the worst one.
spoilers, spoilers.
Oh, I mean, come on now.
I as a test made put my answers down on the tier list, and it is hilarious when Yaz saw where I put him in relation to some of the other Jokers on here. She was like, "How?" And I'm like, "He's that bad."
Yeah,
Shall we dump Heath Ledger in S and move on to the next one? Which is that
sure.
Jared Leto, the next one?
No, it's Cameron Monaghan next
Ah, yes.
from the
Okay.
Gotham TV series. Now, this
Have
is some
you watched it?
I've only watched clips. I've not actually watched the full thing, so I may lean on you for expertise on this one. Because isn't it
Okay.
weird? Like he plays multiple characters, doesn't he? I think.
Yeah. Two and a bit, I guess, if you count it. They're not twins, twins, yeah. Jeremiah and Jerome Velasca. The first one, Jerome, as I understand it from like the production guys' angle of it, is that they didn't want to do Joker at first, but then you've got to get the views, so you're gonna go for Joker eventually. And they do default to going like he is full Joker now before the Batman even properly exists, where he's got the chemical disfiguration and the clothes and all that kind of stuff. But at first, he was just a creepy ginger kid. And I remember the waves that he made when they first had his episode in the season one, where it was like he's a circus guy and he looks like that, and then he has his big monologue at the end where he's all creepy, and it was so good that it just made Cameron Monaghan's career. And like that's something I think to be said. But they did they brought him back for another couple seasons, and then they had a twin come out of nowhere that was more Joker aligned. So the first guy was kind of his own character, not very Joker coded in the visuals or whatever. He was just a bit of a crazy manipulator kind of guy. And then the second one was just straight up Joker, eventually in the end anyway. So yeah. I mean, your exposure to Cameron Monaghan would probably just be Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, right?
Au contraire, mon frère.
No? Oh hell yeah.
He also played, I shit you not, a special kid in the special class in Malcolm in the Middle, who had to wear
I'm
socks on,
Googling.
who had to wear socks on his hands because he used to attack people.
God, wait, hang on. I need to see this. What? No, that's him?
Yep.
What happened to his freckles? I know
Yeah.
that I've literally never put that together.
Yeah, that's him.
Wow. Wow. Okay. What a career. He grew eyebrows in the end.
Yeah.
Nice. Very
Uh,
nice.
but good for him. So in Gotham, I don't know which of the twins it is, but there's one of them. Doesn't at one point he have almost like sort of like a skin mask on where he's got like proper scars all over the shop?
That'll be Jeremiah. Yeah. Who was the more fucked up looking one? Yeah, because there's if you look up any images of Cameron Monaghan playing both of those, you'll be like, how many of these are there? Because it doesn't seem feasible. There's just a guy who's just a ginger guy, and then like another one where he's got the mouth pointy smile thing and everything, and then another one where he's just literally just got the most fucked up like melty face imaginable, and then another one where he's just dressed up to the nines in Joker stuff, but mainly wearing makeup. Yeah, they are only just two guys, and the first guy was relatively normal, and the second guy was all of the out and out messed up Joker mess that you'll see.
Okay.
And out of the two, I think I have a softer spot for Jerome just because I think that's just like bias from familiarity. And I was like, oh, really? You guys are. This was around the time, like we were saying before, about like, oh my God, we're still doing the Joker. Can we branch out, please? The Penguin is also fun. But yeah, so by that time I was kind of done with Gotham anyway. But early seasons of Gotham is where I have the most like fond memories of. But yeah, no, he was great. And like I said, it's kind of like what probably like brought him to my attention to the point where I like looked at Fallen Order and was like, oh yeah, that guy, which is
It's
weird because he'd be like, hang on, you're a
it's it's
Jedi now?
it's the Joker baby.
It's the Joker baby. Use the Force, baby. And then yeah, again, like a weird shift, to go from sitcom as a kid actor to the Joker to everyone's new favorite Jedi. So
Mm.
well, mirroring Luke Skywalker, a little bit of life parallels, like Bill Murray and that other guy who voiced him, Garfield, um, swapping, doing different voice acting roles. That they reference it
No.
in a Rick and Morty episode. The guy,
Okay.
there's a whole story about it. There's so many stories about Bill Murray in the Garfield movie that he thought that it was the Coen brothers who did the good films, Coen brothers, but there is another Coen brothers movie duo who make shit comedy. And he thought he didn't read the script and he was like, yeah, a Coen brothers Garfield movie, let's go. And he signed up for it without reading it and was like, oh God. But like there's a whole thing that like the guy who voiced Garfield originally voiced um Venkman, is that his
Yeah,
Ghostbusters
yeah, yeah.
character in the Ghostbusters animated show?
Okay.
And then Bill Murray was going to play, yeah, so then it was kind of like a little duality thing that he ended up playing Garfield in the live action movie, while he was also Ghostbusters in the live action one as well. So yeah, it was just a whole little double thing. So I kind of like the idea that like Luke Skywalker and Cal Kestis both played the Joker. It's just a little neat. I just kind of really want to see a John Boyega Joker now. That would really tickle my fancy. Hayden Christensen Joker.
I
Oh
mean,
God.
yeah, that's just episode three, Anakin.
Yeah, or a final episode of Kenobi Anakin, where he's
Yeah,
all creepy and smiley. Yeah.
just little whiny Joker.
Ah,
Um,
Joker baby. No, not even like the Joker baby. A Joker baby. I slaughtered them. Not just the women, but the Bat family too.
Just cries into a hanky that just keeps coming out. He's just got loads of different colors all coming together. Oh,
Oh my god.
where are you putting Cameron Monaghan in the list?
The like
B?
I have been I feel like everything I've said is mostly positive, but I do need to stress he is in the Gotham TV show. It's not like we're not like looking at art here.
Fair.
Yeah, he's like a B, but like lower than the rest of the Bs, I think.
Oh, Gotham, the eye zombie of the Batman universe. Uh, right. Well, speaking of lit disappointments,
Are we
let's
here?
yeah, we've done it. We've reached Jared Leto Joker.
S tier. Ah, ah, ah. The handsome honka honka.
It's
I
bad, isn't
have
it? It's
so
really
many.
bad.
Yeah, he's a thing. He's something. It's nothing that anybody wanted. And it's really ironic that like, well, not ironic, but like surprising that he's so you're even doing the fucking he's got his mouth tattoo on his hand. Have you not seen those promotional images? I thought you were doing a bit.
No, I was yawning because I'm bored of Jared Leto.
He has like a smile tattoo somewhere on his
Yeah.
arm or his hand
Rah,
or
rah,
whatever. I
rah,
thought you were
rah.
doing a bit. Oh my
No,
God, you're just bored.
that would be too well
Yes.
written for Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah. I think that the funniest thing about Jared Leto is that a certain twat named Zack Snyder felt that he was that it was worth bringing him back for his extended Justice League for a seemingly endless scene at the end of that movie where he just Jared Leto's it up. And I think that that's
What was
like,
up with that scene?
why did it, what was it for?
I
Why
mean,
did it exist?
what was the Snyder Cut for? Let's be honest.
Uh, to shut up fanboys on the internet.
I watched that.
I think that's just caving into bullying and harassing.
I mean, sometimes it works. Sometimes it gives us a better Sonic the Hedgehog, but this time it did not work. Um,
Yeah, you must have seen all the news about like the fan groups that are set up to like tell production companies whether or not they should change certain things. And it's like, I can see the good and the bad. You know, you fix Sonic's teeth, but you also bullied the Star Wars franchise into killing itself.
yeah. I quite liked the Acolyte. That makes me sad.
I I thought so. I'll tell you a thing. The first episode of The Acolyte, I go to Yaz and I'm like, oh, they showed that she's a twin. I feel like that's like a twist that could probably come later in the show. That's a really interesting kind of idea, is that like these two people who are like acting in like I was watching the first episode and I was thinking that's a little incongruous with who she is, but the character is evolving, and I didn't really think that they might actually be twins. They must be hiding a better twist later in the show because they blew it in their first episode, and that Carrie Ann Moss must do something so incredible later on in the show because there's no way you'd kill off Trinity in the first episode of your TV show without her doing something badass, right? And not much happened, which means I can't say too much bad about it, but I also can't say too much good about it.
Ah,
I
we got Daddy Pelagus at the end, and then they cancelled it. I was very sad.
They cancelled it now. Oh
Yeah,
shit, I didn't even notice.
yeah,
No, I feel bad for Manny Jacinto. He was so keen on the whole thing.
and he
He
was a
was
good baddie.
he was. I loved his whole thing. I loved his helmet, I loved his lightsabers, and I loved his performance. But and I loved his pecs. I can't
Yeah,
lie.
you did.
His abs were a thing that definitely influenced my results. But yeah, I will back people in the overwhelming number of cameos that appeared in that last episode. But the thing that got me so angry about Acolyte was all of the people being like, "Oh, what is Disney doing? They've made a floppy lightsaber." And I'm like, you absolute rubes. Like, light whips have been around for the longest time. And they were like, Disney's ruining Star Wars with their floopy lightsabers. And I'm like, read one of the books, please. These things have been here. You have
No,
no idea how ridiculous it can get. I own a comic where that was kind of like an Elseworld Star Wars comic where Han and Chewie go through like a portal and crash on a hostile alien planet, and Han gets killed by like native savages or something, and Chewie like mourns his death, and it jumps far forward to the future and shows that the planet was Earth, and and Indiana Jones finds the ruins of the Millennium Falcon looking for traces of what is supposedly a Sasquatch, and it's Chewbacca. And that's some shit that existed in the comics. And it's like, it could be so much weirder than this, guys. You need to open your mind. Anyway, we're not here to
Yeah.
talk about the Acolyte, are we?
I mean, I'm happy to talk about anything Star Wars. All roads go back to Star Wars. But
Eventually, we will end up just going back. That's like not even the first time. I think
no.
maybe every entry we've talked a little bit about Star Wars. We've got Mark Hamill.
Shit. Yeah, we
We've
have, haven't
talked
we?
about Anakin Skywalker Joker in the last one. We've just talked about it here.
It all comes
Yeah,
back.
should we just pivot and become a Star Wars channel?
Don't
They
just
make a lot of money, Tom.
I know. Star Wars Explained is a very good channel. We could be friends with them.
Yeah,
Um
man. All we need to
any
do is just take a photo of one of like the female leads in a Star Wars movie, do something weird with her face to capture her going like that or something like that, and then just put like bad in big red letters, and we'll make millions.
that's the
Millions,
formula.
Tom.
That's the formula, and it's real sad, and that's why society is crumbling. But what we can all agree on is that Jared Leto's Joker is going in D, and he is staying at the bottom of D.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel like the best, like the most telling thing that you can take away from this segment, and who knows how much you're going to cut out of it, is that we wanted to avoid talking about Jared Leto that much that we went on so many tangents just to not talk about him. And
Yeah,
I think that's all that we need to say.
absolutely. May you rot in hell, you weird man.
It's
Anyways,
joking time,
it is.
baby.
God, he was fucking Morbius as well. Fuck. Don't enjoy that.
Who
Um.
looked at that and thought, let's give him another shot?
Oh God. Can
What
we
a
please?
time.
Can we just distract ourselves with some Lego now,
Who's
please?
next?
Is it Zach Galifianakis?
Yes, I was debating. It is Zach Galifianakis. I was debating whether or not to put this one on, mainly because I forgot, and I was like, "Will anybody notice if I don't put on Lego Batman's Joker?" But then, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, "Wait, hang on. Was that actually did that actually slap? Was Zach Galifianakis actually good? Did you watch that film?"
I did, but a long time ago and only once.
Yeah,
So
yeah, same.
I mean, yeah, he was fitting with the the aesthetic of Lego Batman real nicely. So
He
I
was a good like partner, I think, to the relentless insecurity of the. I got the actor's name.
Will Arnett.
Well, I know it's the one. His Batman, which was they're both ridiculous and stupid, and yeah, the preening insecurity of both of them, I just find really charming. Like this is what I was saying before. Where I was like, in the era of ultra edgy cholo Joker, it would have been really funny for fucking Caesar Romero type Joker to just pop into the scene and be like, literally nothing matters. And yeah, in the same vein, I think that's what struck a chord with me on Lego Batman. Yes, it was really funny, but until they just threw a bunch of Warner Brothers characters at it in the final act. But like, I feel like Zach Galifianakis' Joker was like somehow like a little bit authentic
Yeah,
to like a lot of interpretations of the character is that he's like very much in love with Batman and like all of his efforts are like the obsession of like a stan, like a really obsessed fan of somebody like doing stuff to get their attention. And I felt that that was true to the character a little bit, and I like that. I don't know how much of that is Zach Galifianakis or how much of that is writing, but it was fun. It
yeah.
was
I mean,
fun.
it all comes together, and like, you're right. I think it had. There's a lot of reverence for the source material and sort of the wider mythos of Joker in a way that obviously pokes fun at it, but it does so in a way that feels authentic and well intended. So I'm happy to chuck him in the B camp.
Just gonna say high C. I feel like we're
Okay.
stretching if we put him in B, mainly because of
Yeah,
who else is there.
valid. Yeah, I
I don't
think
know if I'd put Jack Nicholson and Zach Galifianakis in the same sentence for Joker props. That would be a little.
Oh God, we
Hot take.
yeah, that would get some clicks, but yeah, I
That's
think
the thumbnail. Just Jack Nicholson
this
and
one
Zach Galifianakis better.
this one sucks. Also, Star Wars is ruined. Uh,
Taken out of context picture of like Brie Larson and put it on. We've cracked the internet.
oh, damn it, it works. I'm not happy about it, but it gets results. Oh,
I don't know if you remember this. About 2 years ago, I asked you, "Hey, can you teach me how to host these tier lists? Because I've made one for you, and I really want to put you on the spot because
oh
it'll make you
fuck.
so uncomfortable." The name of the video, because I have no idea if it's ever going to happen, and it's been like 2 years,
I've
so
forgotten all
apparently
about that.
not. Yeah, and no, that stayed. That was the thing, and the thing was called uh Unbridled Cinematic Train Wreck Disaster Failures, a tier list. And it was if I could find a 3 hour plus video essay on YouTube about why something sucks, I would put it on that list. And the whole idea of it is that like they were mostly female dominated action sci-fi fantasy properties. It was like Captain Marvel, The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, Ghostbusters, Mulan. It was like, and the tier list wasn't like, this is actually S tier, A tier, B tier, whatever. It was the tiers were good actually. I mean, it's not great. Didn't even watch it, so I don't know. Bad, but calm down. And no, they're right. This is terrible. And so there was like
God.
not actually there was only a single tier where you could say that a thing was good. And it was just going to be you on the spot trying to dissociate yourself from the most toxic parts of the internet, but also acknowledging that yeah, the Mulan remake is fucking awful. And I
Don't
wanted to just do that to you for like 2.5 hours.
don't make me
And
agree with these people.
yeah, that's what would have been so entertaining. I put it off for the longest time because I'm like, is that like torture under like UN
Yes.
statutes? That's
Yes.
I shouldn't need like do that to anybody, let alone one of my closest friends. I
Weapons of
should
mass uncomfortability over there.
oh that's the title of the video. Fuck yeah. So I'm gonna wait for you to forget that we had this conversation again, and
I'm
then
gonna
I'm gonna spring that on you. Yeah.
I'm gonna try real hard to forget about it as quickly as I can. Let me
Mhm.
tell you. Right.
Back to the feckin' Joker. Did we put him
Yeah,
in high C?
we
Is that
did
what
put
you
him in
meant?
high C, like the American soft drink. Right
Nice.
now we've got Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix,
God.
Joker from the Joker, and more recently, Joker 2 Folie à Deux. Now n neither of us, if we're honest, have actually seen Joker 2 Folie à Deux, but I have had most of it spoiled, and it has impacted my perception of the character as a whole.
Mm,
But I think we'll be basing most of our probably vibes from the first film. So little
yeah.
little caveat there. But what's your takes on Arthur Fleck?
I would love to just enjoy him on his own, like without any like thoughts of anything else. Do you know when sometimes you want to shut out context? Like that's what I feel about Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix, is I come out of Joker and I'm like, wow, really good performance, like different enough from Heath Ledger so as to be um stand on its own and be like not be compared necessarily to as like doing a version of that, doing a completely different interpretation of the Joker. Some would argue a little too off of the our public like conception of the Joker, but like I came out of it being like, fuck yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is a good actor, like such a good actor, and I loved it. And then I was just like, I thought about it and I thought about, I heard people talk about it, and I was just like, sometimes people do like say, and I kind of criticize them sometimes for being like, why is everything so complicated? Can we just not enjoy the simple things? And I'll be like, no, come on, you need to like, the context does matter and it's important. But Joker is one of the few times where I've gone like, can I just like it? Can I just
Mm,
like Joker? Sometimes I don't know if you feel like completely differently
no,
about
I
that, but like I
completely.
really like him.
I left the joke. I saw the Joker about two or three times when it first came out, and I freaking loved it. I went to bat for this film so hard
Mm,
because I just thought it felt really counterculture. It felt, it felt like not necessarily like he was he's not a relatable character and that he's the good guy, but
mm,
bear in mind, this was like in the thick of the Trump presidency, for example. I think
Yeah.
you'd be fair to feel like, like a bit disenfranchised with things. But then like it just got co-opted by incels so quickly.
Yeah,
And it's
unironically like liking Joker because they thought Joker was onto something,
yeah.
which is one of those hilarious like it's ironic that it's cribbing from De Niro films like Taxi Driver and whatnot so heavily because like that's kind of another era of really misreading that the movie is criticizing a lot of this shit. Whereas like people who watch Goodfellas or whatever and be like, that's it. That's the shit right there. A lot of people watch the Joker and were like, yeah, he's saying something. He's saying something right there. And it's like, wasn't this the whole about that? Like not being a good idea. Um, yeah. And it really does make you want to distance yourself from it, where you're like, oh no, I like it, but not like that.
Yeah, like it is a good movie. Like, it hits all the beats of a good movie. The acting's great. It's got an all-star cast. I mean, it's got fucking De Niro in it, and
Yeah,
for the
and he was great.
yeah,
It's one of the last films where I've gone like, De Niro, you slapped in that. Like he's done some stuff where I was like, I did like a little bit of The Irishman, but like, yeah, I loved him in that. And everybody from Zazie Beetz to Brian Tyree Henry in it. Yeah, I think, and the bloody score. This is obviously isn't about like the whole movie, The Joker, but everything in The Joker I like
yeah.
because even like the whole 70s like visuals, the cinematography of it all is something special.
The one
Um,
the
yeah,
one thing I will say about the Joker character in this film though is that as a Arthur Fleck as a character is very interesting. Is very 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 captivating on his performance. Is he a good Joker? Is sort of
yeah,
where I kind of like find that line in. And I know there is also the conversation of there's been so many portrayals of the Joker. What is a portrayal of the Joker? But
right.
you could in theory have made this movie separate from the DC universe and mythos entirely, and it still would have worked.
Yeah.
Um,
In fact, there's been, I can't remember who pointed it out like quite as succinctly as that, but it is a thing that's been commented a lot about it is that there are simultaneously two camps who were like, this movie was not Batman Joker enough, and people who were like, all of the Batman Joker stuff felt so tacked on
mm,
that, and I found myself generally in the latter camp. I did let out a groan in the cinema when at the end of the film, which I thought was an incredible denouement to his story, they just have Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed and then Bruce Wayne standing there in the alley. And I found it just a little bit funny. And I'm like, what the fuck? You guys couldn't resist showing us the Waynes getting killed one time? Like, come on, this is not relevant at all. And then other people who are like, why would you call this the Joker? This is the king of comedy, Taxi Driver again. Like, you could have just called this something else. But I get it, SEO,
yeah.
marketing, it's calling the game Prey, even though it's not Prey. But yeah, I think that like you say, there's so many different interpretations of the Joker that at this point I was so willing to accept any Joker as being like, yeah, it's a guy who laughs and commits crimes. I feel like that's the only category of Joker that I'm like the only criteria I have for the Joker. And like, yes, that means that Jared Leto is technically a Joker. But there's good Jokers, but the criteria of what makes a good Joker, I feel, is entirely self-contained in the thing that he is in. Like, well, anything. It could be, Harley Quinn has stood on her own without the Joker and been bloody compelling. So like even the classification of a Joker and a Harley Quinn is like completely changed without their setting. Joker can exist without Batman. I feel like the film Joker would be better without all the Bruce Wayne shit and all the Thomas Wayne shit. I feel like Thomas Wayne could have been a distant character that represented a dissociated, corrupt government and politicians that really like embodied the 1970s distrust and paranoia following like Watergate. I feel like he could have been like a distant figure, and something like the Batman has done that as well, being like questioning maybe, a guy, a politician and billionaire who existed in the 1970s. Is that even possible to be a good person? Like criticizing that as like a something cultural. I feel like that would have been fine, but like actually personally making him like his illegitimate son or whatever, I feel like that brings it down. But the setting of Joker in terms of like that he is a disenfranchised young man who is radicalized is a a brilliant interpretation, I think, of the Joker, where you've gone the full madness angle in terms of he falls in chemicals and loses his mind. You've gone the angle of like a mob boss who gets betrayed and goes vengeful. You've had the angle of like even Heath Ledger's Joker, like modernized it by making him like a like make reference to like the Iraq War and like disenfranchised like veterans who are suffering from like PTSD and abandonment by the government that sent them off to war. Like that was like a big angle of like Heath Ledger's Joker that doesn't really get talked about as much. But like, yeah, so it makes sense that you would do something like that, talk about mental health, you would talk about government corruption. But so yeah, like frankly, like by this point, it would be, I think, naive to say, that's not very Joker. It's like that's so loose now. You can be whatever, bro. Like laugh and do crime. That's it. And he
Yeah.
only does like two crimes in the film anyway. Like I said, we haven't seen Joker 2, so I don't know if there's any additional context you have to add from there. But like as far as Arthur Fleck goes as a Joker, I'm totally cool with him.
Hmm.
I have no hesitation whatsoever.
I think from what I gather from the what without diving into spoilers in Folie Do, is I think he becomes more Arthur Fleck than Joker. That he leans more into that side of things.
Okay.
Which again, I have no idea what the film's like, but in principle, I don't hate that. I think that's fine. I mean, apparently the film sucks ass, but
Yeah,
apparently
that's
that's
the only
a
reason I haven't watched it is I was like,
yeah,
I've never seen like across the aisle critics and audiences going, nah, no, no, thank you.
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I appreciate that apparently Todd Phillips basically just made a movie to say no shit. You incels got the vibe wrong entirely in the first one.
That
Um,
I do appreciate. I do
but
like that a lot. It's the same reason I like Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, which is a bad movie, but I do love it as a sequel. But the yeah, that just reminds me about the funniest thing about the marketing campaign around Joker is that nobody wanted to call it a musical.
yeah,
Is that they would just go like, oh no, it's not a musical. It's just there's these are very musical and dancey characters, and when their emotions just become too much, they just have to break out in song. And it's like, that's a musical, fella.
that's yeah, that's a
Yeah,
musical.
yeah.
I
Um,
I'm thinking a light A for Arthur
yeah,
Fleck is
I
where
think
I
I'd put
was.
him in A.
Yeah, I
That
think
really like it's this is where like the tier list is like a putting it as a ranking loses a little bit of meaning for me. Where I do put him between Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, and Jack Nicholson, Susan Romero, and everything like that. Is that like he's better than them, but or he means more to me, I guess, than them. Than but like he's so much less uncomplicatedly good than those
hmm.
two.
No, I think
But
that makes sense.
A tier.
A tier indeed. And then we're going to wrap it up with what is effectively a cameo we're rating here. Um,
uh,
but we got Barry Joker,
Barry Keane Joker
Barry
and
Oka.
Barryoka baby. Every time I just wanted him to like that's another movie that came out in the wrong year because you just know that like if he'd stayed on as the Joker and like I don't know if he is still is he
I
like
mean,
part of Matt Reeves's Batman
maybe.
series. I have no idea if he is, but if he is and it had come out after what's the film
Oh, Saltburn.
Saltburn. You just know that you'd have a Joker just dancing around, butt naked, a pale white dick swinging in the wind whilst he dances to something similar but not quite Murder on the Dance Floor. Jamiroquai. Yes. He'd
Virtual
dance around.
insanity.
Yeah, he'd dance around a virtual insanity, shooting people with it's more on par with um Matt. Matt Smith dancing in Morbius, while he's getting
God.
dressed, just dancing around to Jamiroquai, Virtual Insanity, half naked. That's what would have happened if Barry Keoghan played Joker after Saltburn. And I think that's better. That's my headcanon anyway. Is that like
Okay.
as soon as they cut and Paul Dano's talking to him in the prison, he gets up, strips, and just starts dancing around.
I mean, if it was in that scene, that he'd be dancing butt naked to Ave Maria, and I think that would be even worse.
Trap cover of Ave Maria. Oh fuck yeah!
Just like
Like
full windmilling.
Eurobeats Ave Maria, Darude Sandstorm kind of thing.
Vey, 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 vey.
Marie. Oh.
Oh,
It's time to end this. Where are we
it
putting
is.
Barry Keoghan? Above Jared Leto.
Yeah,
This is what I was laughing about to Yaz. Is she was like, I don't remember him, and I'm like, that's the point.
it's better to be forgetful than a war criminal.
Yeah, I can't remember anything about his. Did he really perform, or did he just read his lines off out of focus? Whatever. It's better than whatever Jared Leto did.
I would rather be Tony Vaughan, the current MP of Folkestone High District Council, than Saddam Hussein. I'd rather be forgetful and insignificant than Saddam Hussein. And that's what I'm comparing Jared Leto's Joker to.
Saddam Hussein. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Barry Keoghan is Tony Vaughan,
Yes.
Folkestone's MP.
Folks.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
It's just
Wow.
it's the most forgettable politician I could think of.
I've already got forgotten it. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. T-shirt.
Okay.
Rather be Folkestone's MP than Saddam Hussein.
I'm gonna go to the local town council meeting with that shirt on.
Oh,
I'm
with
sure
like a
he'll love it.
banner. And they'll
Yeah.
be so confused. They'll be like, what point are you trying to make?
And then on it, there's a QR code on the back of the shirt that just goes to this video,
Oh my God.
time stamped at exactly the reference.
We're gonna
Oh,
forget about that, and then be like 6 weeks later, like Dobby's gorilla article will just be like, why did we suddenly get 20,000 clicks? Why is it like all coming from Google searches of Saddam Hussein?
why is Tom on a list? Uh,
Why can
oh,
Tom not leave the country anymore?
why did he have to surrender his passport? Oh God, we're done. We've got to go
Anyway,
through this list. So from bottom
okay.
to top in condescending order, we've got Jared Leto, you're staying there, then Barry, then Zach Lego Joker, then Cameron, then Caesar, then Jackie Boy, then Joaquin, and then Mark Hamill, and right at the tippity tippity top is of course Heath Ledger. Although
Surprising nobody. We're so
yeah,
controversial.
hot
Heath Ledger
takes
is the
here,
best Joker. Wow.
and yeah, but it is tight. It is tight
Well,
between him and Mark Hamill.
yeah, like there are moods. I feel like we've talked about in like other things we've been doing. What was it? Alien videos where we were like, yeah, it might be better, but I don't watch that one as much.
Yeah,
Like it might be better on paper, but like I have way more of a fun time watching this film, basically. And
for sure.
that's the factor for sure, is how fun you're having. Yeah.
Fun is important, and I hope you've had fun watching this at home. If you like tier lists and you like movies, then we've got plenty more of both kinds of things on this channel. So
Yeah.
keep it locked, subscribe, like all that stuff. If you watch this much, then this the least you can do is stick around for more. If there's any tier lists that you would like us to do, let us know. We love ranking things. It's fun, easy content, and we just get to riff and just chat shit. I
Do
mean, we
you know
talk.
how hard it is as a working professional nowadays who like doesn't keep in touch with his old schoolmates to talk about movies for 2 hours? Do you know how hard that is? I treasure these moments. Subscribe,
It's
you fucks. I need this.
subscribe, you fucks. I'm I'm putting that in the description. Uh, and yeah, I just let us know what your favorite Joker is and why it's Heath Ledger. Um, let
Yeah,
us know,
yeah.
let us know what you think of Folie Do. Just let us know everything. Let us know what you had for dinner tonight. I had sloppy joes. I found a recipe for them. They're actually pretty good.
I've
Uh,
got pasta bake left over.
very
Yeah.
nice.
It's
Very
a
nice.
Thursday.
Sure
Don't
is.
fucking hate me.
I don't
That's
hate
the
you.
most I could rustle up at this time after a 9 hour working day.
Oh God, and then 3 hours of this. Fucking hell.
No, like we've established, this gives me life, and I will invest all the time in the world, but only if people comment and subscribe. And become patrons.
Oh
Otherwise,
yeah, we'll put a link to that in
whatever
the.
happens to me, you're responsible for,
That's
viewers.
true.
Yeah.
Don't-
Is that okay? I can't say that, can I? I'm at 12 reasons, people.
You're
uh,
pushing me over the fucking
fucking
line.
line, Hagrid.
Goodbye.
Oh my God. Bye.